The old shelter had served us well, but it was time for something stronger. We secured the last loose sections before pulling the old structure apart. Working together, we brought the worn roof frame down and started separating anything we could reuse. The old palm roofing was cleared away, while useful wire and timber were carefully removed instead of wasted. We freed the remaining wooden supports and stripped the old shelter back to its basic pieces. Long beams and bamboo panels were moved out of the work area, opening the site for a completely new structure. With the old shelter gone, we cleared away leaves, loose debris, and anything that could interfere with the new foundation. Then we broke up the compacted ground. A clean, firm work area would make it much easier to position the new posts accurately. We opened the first post hole by hand, removing loose soil and stones until there was enough depth to hold the support securely. Before digging the rest, we used a straight piece of bamboo to check the spacing between the post locations. Once the positions were set, we marked the next point and started driving a wooden digging stick into the ground. The soil was tight, so we loosened it little by little, then reached into the hole to pull the dirt back out. We repeated the process until the hole was deep enough. It was slow work, but these post holes would carry the entire shelter. Before setting the supports, we washed one of the salvaged wooden pieces in the stream and scrubbed away the dirt. Once it was clean, we carried it back uphill and added it to the material we planned to reuse. We cut the timber to the length we needed, preparing a solid wooden post for the new frame. The post went straight into the hole. We packed soil around it and tamped the ground hard so the base could not shift. We filled the remaining gaps with soil and small stones, compressing everything tightly around the post. With the main supports going up, we turned our attention to bamboo for the upper frame and roof structure. We carried long bamboo poles back to the site, lined them up, and began cutting each piece to the dimensions we needed. Each cut had to be deliberate. Matching lengths would help keep the roof frame balanced once everything was raised. We also carved away sections of bamboo where the pieces need to meet, creating cleaner and tighter connections. Then we test fitted the pieces together, shaping the joint until the two sections nested securely. After another round of cutting and splitting, the longer roof members were ready to assemble. Together, we raised the first pair of pieces into an inverted V. This established the basic pitch of the new roof. We cut a square opening into another bamboo member so it could seat more securely where the roof frame met the supports. Once the alignment looked right, we drove nails through the bamboo and into the wooden structure to lock the joint in place. With an extra set of hands, we lifted the long roof member onto the post and nailed it down securely. The frame was finally taking shape, and even our dog decided it was a good time for a break. We began preparing the roof surface, using flattened bamboo pieces to create a continuous supporting layer. Each strip overlaps the next, helping distribute weight and giving the roof a stronger base. We fastened the bamboo securely, working methodically from one section to the next. From underneath, we can check the spacing and make sure the roof plane stays even. After hours of hard work, one of us grabbed a quick bite to recharge before we got back to building. Small adjustments now will prevent loose sections later, so we take the time to correct anything that does not sit properly. With the first roof layer secured, we prepare longer pieces to reinforce the surface. These rails will support the final roofing, and their spacing determines how well that material will sit. We position each rail carefully and fasten it directly into the roof structure. Working on top of the shelter takes patience. Every movement has to be controlled while we keep the frame aligned. We continue fastening the rails, building a strong grid across the entire roof. Once the grid is complete, we inspect the surface before bringing up the heavier roofing material. Now we sort the roof tiles below, stacking them so they can be passed upward efficiently. The tiles will form the outer weather layer, shielding the shelter from rain and direct sun. One of us stays below while the other works above, turning a difficult job into a steady rhythm. We begin laying the tiles in rows, keeping each piece tight against the next. The overlap is important. It guides water down the roof instead of allowing it through the gaps. Tile by tile, the exposed frame disappears under a much stronger protective surface. We keep checking each row, adjusting individual tiles whenever the spacing starts to drift. The roof is heavy, but that weight also helps the finished shelter feel solid and permanent. As we reach the upper sections, we slow down and make sure every remaining opening is covered. The last tiles are fitted into place, completing the main weather barrier above us. From below, we inspect the underside of the roof, checking the bamboo supports and the way the tiles sit on the frame. The new roof already changes the shelter completely, giving us real shade and protection from the elements. With the roof finished, we turn our attention downward. The next major job is the floor. We gather fresh bamboo and begin cutting it into sections that can be used across the floor frame. Some pieces are split lengthwise, giving us flatter surfaces that are easier to walk and sleep on. We remove the nodes and rough edges, making every section cleaner and safer to handle. This preparation takes time, but a smooth floor starts with properly shaped material. We continue splitting the larger bamboo, using the natural grain to guide each cut. The pieces are sorted as we work, so similar sizes can be installed together later. We shade the surfaces and clean the edges, turning rough bamboo into practical flooring material. Once enough pieces are ready, we bring them back to the shelter and begin laying them across the supports. We place the pieces side by side, keeping the gaps as small and consistent as possible. A tight floor is more comfortable, and it also creates a cleaner platform above the damp forest ground. Before fastening anything permanently, we adjust the pieces until the surface sits straight. Then we drill pilot holes and drive screws through the flooring into the supporting frame underneath. The screws keep each piece from shifting and make the finished floor behave like one solid surface. We repeat the process across the platform. Align, drill, fasten, and check. Working in sequence keeps the boards tight and prevents small alignment errors from becoming larger ones. More flooring comes in, and together we press each new section firmly against the previous one. One person holds the material in position, while the other secures it to the frame. That simple teamwork makes the job faster, without sacrificing the fit of the floor. We continue toward the outer edge, filling the remaining open sections of the platform. Narrower pieces are useful here, allowing us to close smaller gaps without wasting good material. Every new board is pressed tight, then screwed down before we move to the next one. The unfinished frame is disappearing, replaced by a wide, usable floor above the forest floor. We trim any excess material along the edges, leaving the platform cleaner and easier to use. After hours of cutting, lifting, drilling, and fitting, the main construction is finally coming together. The roof protects us from above, while the raised floor keeps our living area away from wet ground. The heavy posts and cross braces carry the structure, and the smaller members distribute the load between them.
Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this
Every part has a purpose, and together they make this shelter far stronger than the one we removed.
Like a wildfire.
We make a final pass around the build, checking joints, fasteners, and any sections that still need adjustment. There is always something small to improve, but the hard structural work is now behind us. We clear away the remaining scraps and organize the tools and leftover materials around the site. Keeping the area clean makes the shelter safer and gives us more usable space around the platform. Now we can finally see what all that work created. A larger shelter with a solid raised floor and a tiled roof. The open sides still let air move through, which matters in a warm, humid forest. At the same time, the roof gives us a dependable dry area for resting, working, and storing equipment. The raised platform also gives us a level place to sleep, away from mud, insects, and surface water. We test the floor with our full weight, checking for movement and listening for anything that needs tightening. After all the fastening and bracing, the platform feels stable under us. This is the moment when a construction site finally starts to feel like a place we can actually live in. What began with tearing down an old shelter has turned into a completely new structure. We reused simple materials and basic tools, but careful preparation made the difference. Strong supports, tight joints, a protected roof, and a raised floor all work together as one system. And after the final pieces are secured, there is only one thing left to do.
Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right.
We stretch out on the new floor and finally give ourselves a chance to rest.
Like a wildfire.
Looking up at the roof, it is hard to believe this entire site looked completely different earlier.
Calling my name, I'm taking my sweet time. Hey, whatever the plan, I know I'm holding the best of me.
The old shelter is gone, and in its place, we now have something larger and much more dependable.
Bring me into golden sunlight. I'm going with you. I know
It took a
we'll
lot
get
of
to
work,
the other side.
but every step had a reason behind it.
Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through
And for
me
now,
like a
this new shelter is ready for whatever comes next.